And the really fun aspect is that for the rest of today, we're actually going to get a chance to see how Dignitas versus Enix is going to play out. And we just saw in the standings that Enix is sitting at the top with 7 points, but Dig is so close behind Enix, and it's actually phenomenal when you consider it, because if these two teams were to split, or if one were to take a 2-0 over the other, that could potentially hinder whoever comes out behind on that, or both of them, because you have Rival, who might only have 1 point at the moment, but Rival is playing against Burrito later on today, and so if Rival are able to secure a 2-0, that'll boost them to 4, and they'll be right on the cusp of catching everybody.
I mean, it's just going to be so much fun to watch this entire split, what EU is able to do, and this matchup in particular, as you mentioned, to close the day, Enix versus Dignitas. Man, what a match that's going to be. I mean, these guys are right there. They're at the top of their game right now. Enix, after making those roster changes, bringing in Ducky and Fails, have looked like a completely different team. They look revitalized. Funball, Lobster, Big Man Tings, all right there. And of course, you know, it's Funball and Lobster up against their former teammates, Cuvo and Trix. You know that they're still friends, but they still want to destroy each other whenever it comes to game time.
Of course, you're always going to have that personal life level with people where you're never wanting to see the worst for them, but when it comes to the competitive aspect, there's no way that neither side wants to come out behind the other, especially since they'll probably hold it over each other's heads.
Oh yeah, these guys love to trash talk. I mean, there's no chance that you take an L here and they'll be like, it's all right, dude, you played well. Yeah, right, you suck, your team sucks, we're so much better than you. That's what you're going to be hearing all split long.
That, I think, was probably a direct quote from Cuvo or Trickstain.
It was probably a little bit more stream friendly, but pretty close, yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to seeing that matchup. And I would say, I mean, you brought it up, you have Ducky for the side of Dignitas, and then you have, I mean, for Enix, excuse me. Yeah. And then you've got Variety, and so it's a little bit of still kind of the rookie versus the veteran, sure, I would say, because Variety is just such a seasoned player by now.
Without a doubt, this guy is at the top of the solo lane, not only in Europe, but in the world. I mean, everyone's going to always look back at that Season 3 Worlds performance and say, this guy almost did it all by himself. He played phenomenal there. He's had a really solid Season 4 as well. Took a little bit of ramp-up time, I would say, and honestly, at some of the games at the Masters LAN, Variety didn't have his greatest showing, but he's shown the ability to have a bad game and then bounce back and have a great one. And I don't think that was a part of his style previously. Even during Season 3, he's a momentum-based player, and whenever he lost momentum, he tended to struggle. You can see that he's matured a little bit, can take a bad matchup, lose a game, and then come back and dominate the next.
On an individual level, Variety loves being that standout player, and he is somebody who's mechanically strong enough to make the individual plays, which I think is always really important. But facing off against Ducky, he has to keep in mind that Ducky is similar to Dimmy in a way where he won't necessarily look for the flashy plays or the standout solo kills, but when it comes to team environment, that is all that Ducky seems to care about.
Exactly. It's all about the W for this guy, and that's what you like to see in a young player like Ducky, who's still trying. This is his first really big contending team, and he certainly looks like he belongs thus far. Really strong play so far out of him during the summer split, and I expect to see more of the same here against Variety.
I think a lot of people are probably just happy to see Ducky on a team that kind of matches his skill set. I think before he was hindered a little bit, but now that he's on a roster alongside of Enix, and all of those players are just so talented, I think that people hold both of these teams at a very strong contention for EU, and so it'll be really nice to see who comes out on top in this matchup.
This is going to be a lot of fun to watch, without a doubt. I mean, these two guys have also very similar god pools as well. They both love the Osiris, they love the Hercules, they love gods that can just bully you in lane and in the middle of the team fights. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw one of these two teams really prioritize their solo pick early on. Specifically the Osiris, of course. Any team is willing to first pick that at this stage. But you could see these two really contesting those, you know, Osiris, Hercules, Wukong being the big pick right now in solo lane. All of those are going to be on the table for these two.
It should be a lot of fun watching that as the final match for the day. But before we can get into that last set, we will be seeing Rival against Burrito GG. Burrito, formerly known as Optimus Gang, week number 2 of the summer split for them, and they're still fairly new to the competitive scene as well, but they've been holding their own, I'd say, against the competitiveness that's available in EU right now. But still, it's Rival, and Rival have really been just on the uphill swing.
This is very similar to the set that the Poppies had to play earlier today up against Obey, where Burrito has a lot to learn still, but they've shown a lot of flashes of greatness. They've got a lot of things that you say, yeah, that's really good. If they continue to, you know, pressure the mid jungle as well as they are in this game, then maybe they can get there. It's just a matter of they're up against Rival, and that's the tough thing about being in Europe right now, is that every time you're up against anybody, it's like, oh, well, you know, it's rival this time around, or, oh, man, now we got to play Obey, Dignitas, Energy. Every week you've got a huge challenge, and that can be really taxing, but at the same time, there's no way to get better than to consistently play against these best teams in the world. I think, as Raffer mentioned, EU certainly looks like the better region right now. They proved it at the Masters LAN, and Season 4 in the Summer Split doesn't look to be that much different. This is a team that has to take these beatings and understand why they're losing and then how to turn it around.
And a large portion of why I think we've been seeing so much success in Rival is because of that solo laner, Deathwalker. He's been on an absolute tear ever since the Gauntlet LAN, I would say. And every single time that he has come out to perform, it's just always something impressive from him.
He's always willing to test the waters a little bit. Doesn't matter if it's builds or gods or anything like that, but you know he's going to be in the thick of things regardless. This is still one of those players that, one of the few players I would say out of the solo lane that can just straight up carry a game by himself, but he also does tend to have these games where he's experimenting with a god or a build and doesn't work out too well. So maybe Sibi for Burrito can try and take advantage of that.
But it's actually just kind of crazy to think about it, because you also have to consider that while Deathwalker is that guy who's kind of been notorious for, he's going to build something really weird,
yeah.
But for now it's actually working out and he's finding all these victorious circumstances. But Sibi is like I would say kind of like the polar opposite. He tends to go a little bit more towards the meta standards, and I think that if he were to try something a little bit off flavor, then it could possibly throw Deathwalker off.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this is a guy who definitely has a lot of potential in that solo lane. He certainly has his work cut out for him here against Deathwalker, who literally created a meta with his Bellona build. Bellona was not getting picked before the Gauntlet LAN at all. This guy picked up Bellona, started playing her every single game, and then his build became the most popular build. I mean, he literally, I don't think we've ever seen a time where one guy, you could point to one player that single-handedly defined a role meta for this amount of time. It's been very impressive to watch what everyone's been doing with the thinking that Deathwalker's been doing.
Well, I'm certainly excited to see whether or not Rival are able to secure a 2-0 victory for themselves, because if Rival don't secure the 2-0, I think that things are going to be looking pretty risky as far as qualifying for Valencia.
Exactly. As I mentioned, when you're up against these teams that aren't part of that big top 5, you need to find the 2-0s at this stage. You cannot afford to not get those 3 points. Rival needs the 2-0 here.
So you think that Rival are going to take it?
I do think they will take it, but don't be surprised if we see a game similar to Game 1 between Obey and the Poppies, where, you know, this Challenger Cup team that just came up into the SPL all of a sudden looks pretty good against one of the top teams in Europe.
Well, it's time to find out how exactly Rival is going to fare against Burrito GG, as we have the casters to take you guys into set number 3.
Listen, I don't know if y'all heard me screaming from offset, but DJ and Chang'e? Come on, Ryan.
That goes hand in hand.
Come on, aggro. Either way, Deathwalker did create his own Bellona build meta, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. Will he pick it? Who knows? Picks and bans right here. Coming at you live from Alpharetta, Georgia. Burrito will take, well, they're not here. We're here. But Burrito are going to be able to go ahead and ban out the Osiris, another bully of the short lane.
Really respecting the potential out of Deathwalker. Probably will ban out the Bellona here as well, unless they want to first pick it. Going to take away the Robin from iceicebaby, playing it in the jungle role here. A lot of these early game warriors, Burrito don't want to deal with.
Yeah, Burrito with that first pick. Interested to see which direction they go in, and it will be the Bellona. 10 points to you, my friend. I like that selection. Not only do you take it away from Deathwalker, who's absolutely fantastic on the character, but you also give it to yourself, and right now she's very, very powerful. Ice will pick up the Thor, which I love on virtually any jungler, but Ice has a very good Thor.
He also has a very good Susano, so I'm surprised he doesn't elect for that option, but going for a very interesting almost Season 1, Season 0 strategy of Thor, Athena, almost allowing any mid-mage for Wlfy.
With that said, though, Team Rival sort of jumping down the tier list. They're not really paying attention to what people are considering very strong, because if you look across the way at Burrito, Bellona, Ganesha, Carnados, those are 3 of the stronger characters in their roles right now, if you ask virtually anybody out there. Freya, on the other hand, not really celebrated that much, but
that's a Freya that just got locked in. This has been a hot minute for a Freya selection here. Coming out of Rival as well, it means that they've definitely been doing their homework. The taunt duration from the Athena in the lane game, once that gets maxed out, it's 2 seconds long. At Pulse or Radiant combination, you don't need much longer than 2 seconds to find a kill, even on a Guardian.
Sure, very sure. With that said, Freya selected here makes it look like she'll be in the Hunter role. Scratch that, there's an Anhur. Do we see a Freya mid today?
Could be Anhur mid potentially out of Wlfy.
I would much rather see the Anhur mid than the Freya. With that said, though, Freya into Cernunnos is going to be a little bit rough. She doesn't have to clear early on. Neither does Cernunnos, to be fair, but his comes on a little bit quicker than Freya.
But Athena could easily group up the wave, dashing through the wave, going to hit them with a reach, being able to group them up all around
Shield
the
wall.
archers, and then you're able to pulse it all down off of a couple shots.
All right, I have an open mind here for Team Rival as they finish up their draft with Erlang, Shen. If you look at the left side, outside of Ra, Burrito have the 4 de facto best characters in their position. Whether that's true or not, we're going off of like public opinion, right? If you ask somebody off the street or Smite, who are the best characters that you want in their role? Bellona, Ganesha, Cernunnos, Susano are probably who you're going to get answered as with the bans in mind. So, Burrito, will it be the power of the meta gods or Team Rival's identity draft? We'll take a look. Wlfy will be playing that mid Anhur. He's done it before. And like I said, I personally like the Anhur mid. And the iceicebaby on the Thor. Thor and Kalas will be your help. I'm in trouble. Come help me. And that's why they complement the Freya so well.
So putting Anhur mid and Freya in the duo lane for vote, it's a 2 double-edged sword here. Now, this is going to force
Two of them?
Yes, it's going to be 2 of them. I'll tell you why here, because now DeathPanter is going to have to go more physical defense. He's going to try to go for that Dynasty plate helmet early on, as opposed to that early Spear of Desolation, potentially, maybe even avoiding Doom Orb entirely. That's also going to force Kespainify to not go for that Ichabod.
Look at what iceicebaby's doing. I love the play. Oh, and the follow-up from Wlfy. iceicebaby walked at DeathPanter. And he just said, okay, what's up, dude? And he just walked at him.
That's
and then
Thor.
as soon as he reached him, he smacked him with the hammer.
That's Thor passive, man. Amplifying your physical power as you're nearby. You want to be that close. Another Sunder onto Kespainify this time. The slows from the pulse doing a lot of damage. And just like that, Kespainify at 10% health, giving Vote such a huge advantage in this mid to late game Freya.
You want to talk about confidence? Rival is literally walking at the opposition and mowing them down. Just well played by Rival already. The kill in the mid lane allows the invade onto the enemy's speed buff. That goes the way of Team Rival, amplifying iceicebaby even more so.
Also the blue buff on top of this, taking that away from Sibi on the Bellona, allowing Deathwalker to spam those javelins and just be an absolute nuisance playing this Erlang Shen. The third position god that you want, whether it's not Bellona or Osiris, you go for this Erlang Shen, and you're really looking to fight fire with all these AoE cleave in hand with that Death's Toll procs.
Right, yeah, the Erlang Shen kind of forgotten. We don't really see him too much, even though he does have that cleave interaction.
And the reason behind that is just how long it takes to get the heal off from your ultimate. It's a 4-second window, and that 4 seconds can be misleading once it's in that mid to late game. The damage from your Hunter and Mage can really take advantage of that long window.
But look at just keep in mind all of the tools that Team Rival have here. I mentioned that Burrito have kind of the desired draft. If you take a look at who is banned, these are the 4 characters you want on your squad. DeathPanter playing the Ra, it's a strong character. I've got no qualms with it. Whereas Team Rival, they have a very interesting draft. But more importantly, they have 2 taunts for a Freya and an Anhur. Now, Anhur doesn't scale the best into the late game, but you still don't want to take an entire ultimate from Anhur. 2 taunts, you're going to take an entire ultimate from Anhur.
Don't forget, on top of the 2 taunts, Deathwalker can knock you even further into the action with that turtle knockup, displacing you in place. Gold Fury very early on being started from Team Rival. Ganesha is not level 5 to drop those pillars, but the Wolf is not unsuccessful. iceicebaby forced to run away. He's too low. Gold Fury going in the way of Team Rival.
Yeah, lucky Gold Fury. Just that's a game of chicken.
Yes.
That's a game of chicken. Rival saying, well, we don't have any burst. And Johnny takes care of Deathwalker with some burst.
worthy sacrifice. Honestly, your team gets the gold here. That's to be expected, honestly, that your soul laner is getting pressured, that your team's going to get opposite objectives on the map. So that's nothing to worry about if you're Deathwalker or rival.
I mean, don't take our word for it. Look at the graph right here. You see the jut down in gold difference, and it hits 1,500 even. That's what happens when you go ahead and get the gold fury. And then the answer back of the kill in solo lane was about 200 gold. So, I mean, clearly you're still up in that scenario. Trade the solo for the gold all the time.
No problem at all. Deathwalker now back into the thick of things. That speed up is respawning, looking like he wants to poke his head around that corner with the ultimate from iceicebaby, landing down in the back.
And right in the middle of the Ganesha pillars. He's going to have to walk on through, get punished for it. There's damage as well. Pillar is on the wrong side. Wlfy secures the death of his jungler.
No purification beats to get away from the silence that Ganesh was able to disrupt the teleport on that hammer. Going for such an aggressive Sunder, allowing him to get first blood, but not giving him the safety that he needs to escape from that potential speed buff invade.
There's the pull from Dzoni on a Deathwalker, who's going to be low, very low in fact. Knock up and the zigzag out of Deathwalker.
Beautiful cancel coming out of the turtle, recognizing Eagle's rally was coming right around that corner. Deathwalker still even having his ultimate to get that health return if he wants to sit in lane a little bit longer.
This guy has had, we've seen players with turnarounds. I think Walrus and Variety are the most notable players that have turnarounds. And I bring this up a lot, but I'm not talking about skill this time. I'm just talking about how much fun it is to watch this guy. This guy has gone from one of the more silent players in the league to, especially if you watch his LAN performance and his interviews, and his streams as well, one of the more fun guys to watch in this entire league. I really have grown really attached to watching Deathwalker play this game.
And the thing is, it's not just about the gods that he's been playing in that role, it's also about the way he's been building these gods, going for silver breastplate at times, neglecting the... First, he creates the meta of Mark of the Vanguard after the boots, and then he's like, you know what, I'm bored of this. Let me switch out Mark of the Vanguard with just silver breastplate. Let me leave it here at tier 2 for another 10 minutes.
Well, Dzoni and his friends in the duo lane. You don't even need his friends in the duo lane. Kalas goes down just the hand of the jungle Susano. Still a very powerful character.
Still taking advantage of these gods without defensive relics. No shell, no meditation, no sprint for Kalas. Only relying on Sunder for some of these offensive plays. And as a result, not being able to really escape from danger on that one. And that's not a bad idea to take the fight to these global presence gods.
Oh, Dzoni dashes into the pillar from Wlfy. But Wlfy already used the Impale, so doesn't have the stun available, which woulda, coulda, shoulda, right?
Yeah,
but
if he hits that stun, incoming Desert Fury, incoming second kill for Team Rival, and that would have been nice and clean. And allowing also the iceicebaby to get more farm to separate the gap against Dzoni.
3-on-2 here in the mid lane. Burrito with a kill lead, but not a gold lead. The first blood from Team Rival still proving fruitful there, thanks to the good play coming out from iceicebaby. But then, as we said, punished for it since he doesn't have beads yet. Fusify by himself. Kalas thought about it, and that's one of the fun things about Athena. Honestly, is it can be a positive or a negative, but having the ramp up for the dash be so obvious, loud, and obnoxious, you can alter the way people play without even executing the ability.
Especially considering Fusify can easily stop the taunt after the dash, just popping his own channeled silence of his own. He's able to really disrupt the potential initiation that Rival can potentially just burst out on you. So having to really wait out on the dash is Fusify.
It's just a lot of fun to be able to... Fusify could have walked up there, right? And then as soon as Kalas goes... That means, all right, I'm walking away now. Yeah. You just hear the... And all right, I'm walking.
And if you hear the dash go through, that's when you channel your silence to prevent that taunt follow-up.
Look at this.
Wlfy's doing a great job baiting, but Kalas, iceicebaby on the left-hand side. Burrito not taking the bait, though.
Yeah.
They're not hungry.
Oh, I think they're hungry. They're just being denied right here. And that was the negative side. If Kalas doesn't have the loud sound, then I think we see Burrito wrap around and face check those harpies. But because Kalas readies the dash, Burrito know better. They don't go into the enemy jungle. They stay on their own side. They're able to successfully wind up there. Oracles do go the way of Team Rival. Now Kalas is the target. Dzoni dashes out. Doesn't want it just yet. Burrito, however, they're playing Rival's game.
Rival's able to make the plays happen at their command whenever they want. I like what iceicebaby also did there. He stunned out Kespainify, but he didn't throw out the double tap hammer there. Instead, he used that opportunity to stop the DPS and just use Berserker Barrage really quickly to secure those oracles and then just run away, allowing his team to get that 1 minute vision at that Gold Fury.
What I mean by that, though, is that Burrito right here, they have a Ra, they have a Susano, they have a Bellona. They want to run things when 11 minutes hit. This is their game. They are the mid-game masters. Even Cernunnos, right? These characters are gods that really want to just run this mid-game. Whereas Team Rival, they want to put their feet up, they want to drink a beer, and they want to hang out till about 18 minutes when Freya comes through and just slaps people in the mouth. Now, unfortunately, Burrito are reaching for that beer too. They're kind of just hanging out when they need to be making these plays totally. At what point does the early game end and Burrito need to make plays?
It's not necessarily that they need to make plays about the early game, because there's still options to deal with the Freya in the late game. You can easily go in and out of combat, use the sustain options from DeathPanter to help out your front lines that took all that damage from Freya, and then you have those backline penetrators, specifically from Dzoni and Sibi, that can easily get in there. Dzoni can obviously teleport with that jet stream, find the pull, maybe force out that early purification beads, and then any sort of setup that he can do, whether or not it's the pull or the knockup from his ultimate, you have that long-range, distant ultimate from DeathPanter to follow up.
You're just sitting in this spot right now where Team Rival, we talk about the devastating 3 items coming out from Freya all the time, whether it's boots, Bancrofts into the Fatalis, or boots with the ring into Fatalis. Here it's going to be the Bancrofts. I like the Bancrofts. Works out well for her, but I mean, it's almost finished. And then the Fatalis comes, and then you die.
And that's just going to be a lot of trouble for Burrito. I like the Bancrofts before Fatalis because the magical power on Freya also helps out her ultimate quite heavily.
Big deal.
If you take a lot of damage, the Bancroft's talent is going to start taking into effect, and those 4 hits from the Valkyrie's discretion is just going to destroy Burrito.
I mean, the Bancroft actually does more work on Valk's discretion than it actually does on the abilities. Pulse and Irradiate scale better with attack speed, but here comes Rival coming around the corner, and that be that. Gold Fury will be leashed. Pulse and Irradiate scale better with attack speed. You're looking for that extra gumball coming out when you're able to go for it, but what the Bancrofts does do, Dzoni on the spot. Oh, triple taunt, even better. Team Rival have a fantastic opportunity. Wlfy down the middle takes out Dzoni. Now looking for Fusify. The whoop is strong, and the flank from the Freya is good as well. Wlfy gets a double kill, while iceicebaby takes care of business on the back end. Thank you, Kalis. Celebrate the support. The 3-man taunt into the surprise opportunity. Gold Fury goes the way of Team Rival as well.
Just absolutely melting the players, melting the objectives. Rival getting their second Gold Fury of the game at the 11.5 minute mark. Getting a pretty comfortable lead here. 2,500 gold or so, almost 3,000 mark. And now it's transitioning around that portal demon. Like you mentioned before, it was all Kalis to start things up, but it was iceicebaby ending things, killing DeathPanter, preventing that a very important raw snipe potential steal at that Gold Fury.
But oh my goodness, that triple taunt, and that's what I like about Team Rival here is that, I mean, that sure, any good player is going to be able to capitalize off of that, but there are times where we talk a lot about communication and clean comms, totally, but there are times, and you can speak to this as a player, that there is no time to communicate. You just have to know.
You just go. And then as soon as you see your Athena support dash in, everything is coming out. We see Wlfy instantly, no hesitation, use that Desert Fury, capitalizing on his maximal DPS potential. Nice little knockup from Deathwalker, preventing the bloodshed. Also getting him down to half health here. Mystical Male taking away from that as well.
And here comes a vote stuck in the box. He'll be able to walk away after the strong whoop, avoiding the wild hunt, and tossing out that ultimate, turning tail. Is Kespainify.
Ooh, in the mid lane, though, Wlfy, along with Kalis, gets DeathPanter on the right-hand side, though. Anvil of Dawn was used, trying to take out Sibi as his Eagles rally is not available.
So they're winning in the mid lane, they're winning in the solo lane, and the duo lane, they're not exactly winning, but votes making sure that they don't lose their island.
And just look how low Kespainify was after that Valkyrie's discretion with that Bancroft's talent finish. Wlfy is going to get knocked up from...
Here comes Kalis with the save! And the kill! The turnaround! down. Wlfy's still in a lot of trouble, but look at the protection coming out from Collis. One more shot. Ladies and gentlemen, Collis already MVP of this game for me. Don't care. Jump in. Vote gets the kill. Wlfy is buying Collis dinner.
Collis is just such a great impact for all of Rival. The experience that he's been able to get from his former time in Paradigm, just for that one little match there at DreamHack in Sweden. He was able to take a lot of what he's learned and help out his roster, formerly known as Cyclone GG. Now, same exact roster from the Season 3 into Season 4. This team is really scary.
This Collis is different for me. I think that sometime during the end of last year, if not just this past spring split, is when Collis stopped being the guy that subbed at Masters and is the captain of Team Rival. I think, and he's been captain of Team Rival. I'm talking, it's just been a big monumental shift for me in play style, even skill. He's always had the strategy. He's always been a strategic mind, looking back at Masters, etc. But this is different level. I love what's happening with him and his team, the way he's able to command them on and off the battlefield.
The whoop, forcing out the bees and the Aegis for Kespainify, even the Dharmic Pillars from Fusify. The red buff, even stripped away into the sky, is both Vote and iceicebaby.
Ice gonna be missing that one. We'll call that one a zoning ult. I'll be nice to him.
Nah, he just missed that one. He wanted to obviously get a little bit of something out of it. Vote doing a lot of damage in the left-hand side, while on the right, Deathwalker still getting the better trade here, considering that this Bellona was so early drafted for Burrito, just not paying off for its value.
I mean, Bellona is popular. You heard Ryan gushing about DW and his meta introducing Bellona back into the meta, right? I mean, this is walking into Little Italy and saying, "Who wants to taste my pizza?" Right? Like this is tough. And Deathwalker's saying, "Nah, that's my Bellona. Watch out." Why don't you break this down? We have a little bit of time here, it seems like. How is DW able to just abuse this situation?
It was honestly the invade opportunity here. Off of the first split from iceicebaby onto DeathPanter, he invades not only speed buff, but the blue buff, as Johnny's going to die again to another Berserker Barrage from iceicebaby. Same exact story of how DeathPanter died.
Deathwalker!
At level 1, going to be the second victim in the last 5 seconds. Death Rival with a 5-on-3 lead now. But going back into that discussion, because Iceice kills DeathPanter, he gets speed buff.
Yep.
He gets the blue buff from Burrito, which also helps Deathwalker get that slight
the
edge
entire jungle
over Sibi, and then they get their own buffs to just amplify more golden experience under the jungle and soul laner from Rival.
That's the numbers. What is it about Deathwalker's play that allows him to, after he finds those numbers or even beforehand, what is it about his play that's different?
It's also the rotations, not just necessarily what he does in the soul lane, because off of the lead that iceicebaby has helped Deathwalker bring, he takes that lead and brings it to the team fight. We saw that triple taunt from Callis, but Deathwalker was right around that corner with a taunt of his own to be able to help that team fight go in the favor of Rival.
Sibi's gonna fall here. He might get away relatively tanky, that solo lane level 15 Bellona, but you're right, a lot of times we'll see that 10, 11, 12 minute, 2,500 gold lead. And 1,500 of it is on the solo lane that's just AFK farming.
Yeah.
And that lead becomes less relevant. And so you look at a 3,000 gold lead,
Sibi just melted. Taunt, Sunder, Desert Fury, nowhere to go. Another easy kill. Dharmic Pillars being used to zone Vote in the sky along with iceicebaby. Johnny could be in a lot of trouble.
And Vote should be in a lot of trouble, but this is the beauty of the composition. You have help from both Collis and Iceice whenever the Freya gets in trouble. Then she starts slaying. One for Wlfy, one for the jungler. Whoop. And Kespainify gonna fall down as well. There's the jump forward, and the shot goes to iceicebaby. 7, 1, and 3 for the jungler.
4 dead in 10 seconds flat. Just the pure mid to late game damage from this Freya, not even in its fullest form. And now Rival, they're taking their talents to the Fire Giant so early in this game.
Yeah, only 17, gonna be 18 minutes when the big boy falls down, and oh my goodness, just out of control. Team Rival, 14 kills to 3. Everyone has been on their game.
Look at Callis. I think he's trying to use his passive to get that tier 2 tower through the wall.
With the reach?
Yeah, I thought he was using his pass, and he was sitting at the back car piece. He wasn't clearing it or anything like that, but now finally, Wlfy demolishes that
That's
tower.
probably what Collis is doing.
They're just having a ball right now.
And again, I like watching this team grow up. This has been Energy Junior for me, and they're quickly turning into just their own team, sticking together for a long time. This roster has been part of their own family for about a year plus at this point, totally. And like I said, we've seen them when they came out. It was sort of like, all right, here's Collis and Wlfy with their ragtag band of bandits that are good enough, but where are they going? They qualified as Cyclone GG, and you said, okay, iceicebaby, we've seen you around the Challenger Cup forever, right? And Team Rival slowly but surely started working towards it, working through their issues instead of just roster changing at a moment's notice. And look at the turnaround. This team, I mean, you heard them on the desk. They're competing for DreamHack.
You could just tell the confidence from this team ever since they defeated Energy in that interview with iceicebaby when he put on those shades, man.
Oh, it's Deathwalker.
Was that Deathwalker?
That's Deathwalker,
I
baby.
thought that was Ice that put on the shades, though.
The tall Deathwalker man?
Yeah.
That's
No, Deathwalker. Was that Deathwalker?
Probably. He's always the guy that wants to make some noise. And Team Rival making some noise on the left-hand side.
It was definitely iceicebaby because he said he adapted.
Okay, I'll give it to you. Oh, it was.
Yeah.
It was. All right. You guys didn't see. Totally corrected me and then fixed his jacket. Like on some real boss baby nonsense.
I love that movie, by the way.
Of course you do.
I heard that you were saying that I may or may not like. I do like it. Confirmed here.
Did you go on a date with Aggro to see Boss Baby, the movie?
Yeah.
Did
you not get the memo?
Team Rival, absolutely the boss baby in this game. 20 minutes and 19 kills. The Titan goes down. Burrito is a team I respect, Anatoly. I like this squad. I think Burrito has legs. But Team Rival, standing on stilts, just taking down the newcomers like exactly what they are. Newcomers, but they look fantastic in doing so.
The early game aggression that iceicebaby provided on top of the team fight control that Catalyst had with that Athena just helped Rival get that easy, clean 20-minute victory.
We spoke so much about this Freya. Vote didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything.
He didn't get the opportunity to show Freya the late game potential.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of times not doing anything is actually a problem for your team, but 4 players kind of just took the victory for Deathwalker and the squad.